Has tipping reached its tipping point? I say yes. What say you? The Pew Research Center conducted this study to explore Americans' views of tipping and tipping culture, as well as their practices. So pretty good survey here, almost 12,000 adults. That's a big sample size. And so here are some of the findings, and I'll weigh in a second. I want to know what you think in the comments. A broad majority of Americans say they're being asked to tip more frequently than in the past. You don't say. 72% say tipping is expected in more places today than it was 5 years ago. It's absolutely true. The other day I was in the line, I won't say the company's name, fast food. And I go up to the window to get my food, and the guy holds out the little, mobile machine, and I got to tap the card. Prompts me for a tip. No, thank you. It's a combo meal. It's everywhere. It's now being called tipflation. And that's exactly what it is. More on that in a moment. Very few Americans, according to this survey, have confidence about when to tip and how to tip. Now, this is happening because for as long as I can remember, we've had very clear, very clear places in our consumer world where it's always been expected. As long as I can remember, you tip. Well, now, when you start going from, if I get my shoe shined in an airport, and some of you are going, what are you, 90 years old? Just saying. I go to New York, I do media, I wear a suit, and I like to get my shoe shined in the airport because those guys are artists. And that dude is down there shining my shoes so shiny that I could shave in them. I'm going to give the guy a tip, but that's what you do. You always tip that guy. You tip the bellman at the hotel. There are certain lanes, you tip the room service guy. There's certain lanes where that's what we tip. Well, now you start adding all these in. People are like, I don't know. What do I do? Right? So people don't have confidence. Some people say it's extremely or very easy to know whether or not to. 34% that say that they know. And now, is it more of a choice or an obligation? 21% said it's more of a choice, while 29% said it's more of an obligation. 49% say it depends on the situation. And I fall into that category. More Americans oppose businesses suggesting tip amounts to their customers. So, example, the bill comes out and they show you now I personally like that if it's at a restaurant. Then you tell me the number to put in there, it makes my life easier. Thank you very much. I like that. It's great. But let's go to what I believe should be the rules on tipping. And then I'll explain why we're in this situation and what you should do about it. Here we go. Here are the basic rules. If you are at a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, where a waiter or waitress takes your order and delivers your food, you should tip. If you're getting your hair cut, you should tip. If you are getting your shoes shined, you should tip. If you are getting your bags from a bellman, you should tip. If you are riding in an Uber or a taxi, you should tip. If you have your hotel room cleaned, I think a nice cash tip is also very much required in that setting. Am I missing anything? Those are traditional lanes by which we tip. Businesses don't get to change the rules, folks. We got some cultural rules. How about we follow them? But I can tell you what's going on. Some of you out there are people pleasers, and you show up to your local coffee shop where historically we've never tipped. You order your latte, matcha latte, whatever it is, and they show you your bill, and they give you the tip option. Now, this is the moment of confrontation. You got another human being smiling at you, encouraging you to tip by handing you this thing. Now is the moment of truth. To tip or not to tip? That is the question. And I'm going to tell you something. I haven't previously tipped at a coffee shop. I really appreciate the fact that you made me a really good coffee. I'm not going to start tipping you. I'm not going to tip you for handing me a combo meal. Yes, you scooped my fries. I'm not tipping you. Now, here's why this is happening. Coming out of the pandemic, the cost of labor has skyrocketed in this country. Big raises, minimum wages going up by large companies. Everybody else follows suit because you have to, because the market sets these things. And so these companies, and very, very smart, are going, well, Let's see if we can get some tips. We are effectively creating another tax, optional tax, but a tax. And if you feel guilty because they shove a tip thing in front of you and you don't want to disappoint the person or them say something bad about you, and you pay the tip, that's on you, not on the... You can gripe all you want to about tips, but you do realize that you're in control of that? You're in control of that. So don't tip. But I say good on these businesses. I think it's obnoxious. But if they can get it from you because you feel guilty, then they've just guilted you into a luxury tax or a purchase tax. But if it's outside the traditional tipping, stop tipping. It's too much. You're okay. You're not a jerk. You're someone who has a budget and wants to win with money. And that's my take.